Greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Welcome to the Rockies podcast. We are so glad to have you with us today. This is our interview segment titled, What Has Life Taught You? A space where we dive into stories, wisdom, and life lessons that have shaped our guest's journey. Before we dive in, we commit this podcast into the hands of the Lord. God, have your way. Holy Spirit, take control in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Today, we are thrilled to welcome a remarkable individual. He is a senior software developer, a proud USAF veteran, an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, a talented coach, a talented cook, and a social media influencer. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our guest, Jerome Amos.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great introduction. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
How are you doing today? And thank you very, very much for the prayer.
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. So, Jerome, with all the incredible experiences you've had, both professionally and personally, what would you say life has taught you along the way?
Well, thank you again for such a great question. Thank you for having me on the show. Life has taught me a lot of things throughout the various professional and personal experiences I've learned. Life is challenging. It really is. It's important to continually learn, to be, in that learning mode. The older you get, the more experiences you get, but you can't just assume that you're going to maintain that. So it's essential to, be committed to your personal and professional goals. Otherwise, you'll find yourself facing more and more difficulties along your journey. But to stay positive, you need to be educated, as educated as you possibly can. So you need to spend some portion of your day learning something new.
Thank you so much. So, how have those lessons shaped the way you approach your work, your advocacy, or even your personal life today?
Well, to me, I've done a lot of things. I've been a photographer, I've been a car salesman, I've been a software developer, I've been a cook. My experience have taught me that creating a plan is really important, right? So no matter what you start out doing, that you can have an opportunity to move forward, to meet those challenges. So like if you need to switch up, you can get in there and just make that change and have something to move forward with. So it is crucial to remain adaptive and willing to adjust or correct, if necessary. Recognizing that plans sometimes work, but you got to have a plan if it doesn't work, and that's part of the essential part of growth.
So, given all you've learned, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in their career or in life, especially when facing challenges?
Well, finding those bumps in the road that I have experienced. My advice for someone who's just starting out in life, facing challenges, is to prioritize your financial responsibilities. Right? To me, that means that you should be trying to buy a house as soon as possible, save some money for the part where you won't be able to make any money. Sometimes you have those changes, and it takes time to find something new. So education, get your education as soon as possible. It was difficult for myself because I left home at 14, and had to decide from then what I was going to do with at least the beginning of my life, which is how I ended up in the United States Air Force. So my plan was originally to go in this service, pick up a career of some type, and then move forward. Right? I figured I'd do my first contract with them, which was 4 years, and then possibly stay 8. But by by 8, I would determine whether I was going to stay in the whole time. So at the smack dab, just a little bit past the middle of the half of that, war kicked off, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. That's not why I got into service. This is not my plan, but yeah, I went in for an education and came out with a couple of medals. That's basically basically like, and they ended up making me extend to be in the service, because you don't really have a choice when you're in the service and war kicks off. You have to extend. So they want to have people who are ready to go, and they've already trained you. So that I worked on planes, so it definitely was something that you need to land and have strategy. So I just figured, let me just finish. Hopefully, make it through without any issues. I was in the Air Force. I wasn't in the Army or in the Marine Corps. So I wasn't in what I consider real harm. I mean, there's a couple of issues that happened around that, but you plan to make decisions as to what you're going to do with the rest of your life after you figure out that you're not imminently going to die. So my plan was then to let me get out and do something that would make me smile, and I figure I can do for the rest of my life, which was photography at that time. I did that for a few years, and and then when I got into photography business, I was like, hey, I need to, not work to just go work for someone. I want to be good at it. I want to be great at it. I want to have my own studio. So I needed to, advertise and market. That's how I got into, doing graphic design work, because I needed to have promotional stuff for my business. And when I was seeing that I was just, you're booking out your life a year and a half in advance, where you can't plan family vacations or anything like that. You decide that you want to, maybe I could not do this for a living, because it's really eating up my entire life. Even though I loved it, it was just too much planning in advance, too much doing for the long haul, and I couldn't really see an end to that. So I decided, hey, this other thing I'm doing, which people really liked, was my graphic work, which was my marketing work. So I started doing that for small businesses, which was good. And that brought me into doing this, web development. And web development itself happens to be one of those things where you can work at home. You don't have to carry 250 pounds worth of equipment around to take pictures. You can just, be on a computer and do your thing. Meet with a couple people, sell them that idea, go back, make it, return it, and done. And in between there were some bumps and grinds, of which I decided maybe, I could do some other opportunities. Let me try this car salesman thing. My wife and I was thinking about moving to North Carolina, and I was like, let me just check this out and see if that's an opportunity for me. Because once you start moving states, you don't have connectivity to your surroundings, your family and friends that help you get the next thing, and you're down in some place that you never been before, and you lose that family and friends connection. So you have to pivot a little bit, and pivoting is what life is about. Having the education to move forward and coming up with new business plans is really, really important. And that's basically all I have to say about that.
Wow, that is awesome. So, looking ahead, what's something you still hoping to learn or achieve, either in your career or personal life?
Well, currently I am freelancing. I'm doing freelance web development for people, and I also have this crazy YouTube channel that I have on cooking. So in my mind, I have two basic goals that are tracking at all times. One is I want to be able to put out a cookbook within the next couple of years. Right, that's a big thing. I'm working on a new website for BFAM cooking. Right, on besides the YouTube channel, I have a website for it, and I do a podcast also around food and people of color and culinary. And So for the goal of my food advocacy, it's really important to me that we can highlight the people who are people of color and people Latinx and also the military because they don't get really highlighted enough in the culinary business, even though they do have a footprint there, right? And to share that with other people is really important to me. So that's what the podcast is for. Cooking, having a cookbook out there is an opportunity for me to share my recipes with people directly, and I want to build a community around that. So personally, I would like to increase my freelance business, helping people highlight and market their businesses and their products. Um, that's just something that I do because I really am a community builder. And from working at NBC and helping them with their veterans network, I was the lead for New York City, all of New York City, for almost 5 years. And I'm trying to advocate for people of color, the Bend group, and the military community to get jobs in corporate life. It's really important for us to show that we can do just more than I don't know what do you want, repair planes or blow up stuff. you know. Um, those are my goals is to see if I can help the community in any way, support my community, and share good food. That's basically it.
Absolutely. So you've balanced so many roles: developer, veteran, advocate, influencer. How do you prioritize and manage your time to stay effective in all of them?
How do I manage my time? Good question. Generally, I just use a calendar. I break it up. I said I need to get these XYZ goal to meet my goal. So like right now, like I said, redoing the website. I'm in the prototyping stage to figure out what that is for BFAM cooking. Originally, what I had on my site was just what I like to call a brochure site. It talked about what I did, a little bit of history about who I am and what I do. It didn't really have recipes on it, so right now I'm trying to mentally do gymnastics on what and how to build a recipe online and what I really want to show from it. Now I can just stick a document up there that shows these ingredients and this is the direction. But I wanted to do more than that. I wanted to connect my YouTube channel to it because I have a lot of recipes up from that. So I have a space for YouTube. I also have my other social networks connected to it. And then I have my podcast, which has, I want to be able to highlight people like I just mentioned. So I'm working on figuring out how to highlight the chefs and people, the products of people of color and military that are out there. So I'm like trying to break that information, that data down into something more digestible and presentable at the same time. So dealing right now has been a big data mosh, as I would like to call it, because I'm trying to figure out what it is that needs to be shown to the public. And then I want to be able to offer a community setting. I'm trying to figure out what that actually is. So plotting it out has been a long process for me because I don't want to build something and then have to rebuild it because I've already been in this process of building it and
Mm-hmm.
rebuilding it and then rebuilding it, which is great because it's a process, but it slows me down because I'm building something that I really don't need to build, right? Until it's complete, or at least my thought process is complete. The goal on how to do that requires me to learn some stuff that I've never needed to do before because I'm a self-taught developer, so I had to learn. I'm a crack open a book kind of guy and crack open 3 or 4 books, hear it from 3 different perspectives, and understand why it has to be built in a particular way. So I'm learning and building. Is basically what's been happening. So
Yeah,
that's the process.
absolutely. Absolutely. I know for people in the IT field, you have to keep learning in order to be able to be up to date with what's going on because your career is always changing. There's something new always coming up.
Right. When I first got into this, I started with something called Flash. I had for my photography business. I did a Flash presentation that was on a CD-ROM, First off, most computers don't even have CD-ROMs anymore.
Yes.
So that's the first hurdle. The second
Mm-hmm.
hurdle is that that was ActionScript back in those days. So I basically like to make things look good. So I do front end development. Then my first website for my company was a WordPress website. Because it was easy to edit, and that got me into another CMS process called Drupal or Joomla. And then I got a job working for several other freelance companies where I did something called get out the get out get in the wall, get off the wall. It's so long ago. It's almost 15, 16 years ago.
Oh,
Get in the wall with Calvin Klein, and that was a Flash application. Then I went to Joomla and Drupal, and I was working on e-commerce, and then Express and Node, and that was working with Levi's, and then I worked for this lawyer's office, and David Yerman, which is an e-commerce platform working on Hybris, which is Java, and so you're constantly learning, but
yes.
you're constantly learning just to keep up with that stuff. Nowadays, a good portion of the community has moved over to a thing called the React, and I'm dealing with React and Next, and that just updated just in October. It was like
Yes.
it's just another manimal you have to learn to understand how it should be built, and then you have to learn how it's supposed to be done for them, because
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about four different languages that have to be managed. One was in PHP, one PHP with MySQL. Now it's JavaScript with either GraphQL or MySQL with an ORM in between called Prisma. I know I'm talking techno speak here, but I am a nerd, so there you go. Being a geek requires you to have some crazy languages stuff that you would learn, and terminologies. So right now it's Next JS with TypeScript instead of JavaScript, with a lot of fun things that are happening in between. We're dealing with a new you have to build a content management system from scratch, dealing with a library that's called Next.js.
Wow, it's never ending. It's always changing.
Always changing,
Always
constantly
changing.
changing. And
Yeah.
on the food side, I'm trying to.
Um,
I'm looking on the food side. I'm looking at. I mean, I've upgraded from just regular kitchen utensils to what is my best thing that I could get in my house.
mhm.
I just bought a new stove. I'm looking at getting a pizza oven. For this coming year. So I'll have a nice. Can make a pizza in 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Outdoor pizza oven. I have some ideas in reference to that. Most of last year, I did a bunch of giveaways for people who sign up and get a lot of cookbooks. You can't see me, but I collect cookbooks that have particular flair to them, because I do New American cuisine, which really is food that is global. Really, it's just our version of it. We in the United States, we have a little bit of everyone. So I do Japanese, I do French, I do Italian, African American, Southern cuisine. I'm not afraid of anything as long as it tastes good. Is basically where I'm at. Very
Yeah,
important.
I've watched your a couple of your videos on your YouTube channel. I really enjoyed it. I learned a few a few things, yeah, in your
Thank you.
cooking channel. Yeah, I love it.
I would invite all your listeners to check out my BFAM cooking. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, the big thing is also that my wife and I travel for food. We go on vacation. We're getting ready to go to 2 classes in the middle of this month
Oh,
coming up
that's awesome.
for cooking. But to me, because I'm from a large family, I'm one of eight. I'm the oldest of eight kids. It's important to have good food, because
Yes.
my great grandmother would say that you build a community around the food that you have. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's always about what's at the table. Even working, one of the big things that I used to try and bring into work was making culinary events around it. I do ice cream socials. We try and find the best donuts in New York City. Those sort
Mm-hmm.
of those sort of things. Potlucks were really big because you have all these international cultures that you try and group people together, and you bring down those barriers and build a better team by having people to understand who you are by your food. So that's really important to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as a DEI advocate, what changes or improvements would you like to see in the tech industry or other fields you are passionate about moving forward?
Well, DEI and being a DEI advocate, I literally worked as part of the ERGs for NBC. That's when I got involved. NBC had sent some crazy survey around asking how much am I being utilized, and I pretty much laughed in their face because I have 4 resumes. Obviously, I've already told you a bunch of different things that I've done, and they hired me there to do part of one of my resumes. But I replied back, I'm probably being utilized about 10%, and that caused a lot of fluff. And my boss's boss called us all into a meeting. It's supposed to be an anonymous survey, which I thought was funny. Right? So don't ask me questions we don't really want the answers to. So it caused a lot of fluff, and then it's supposed to be anonymous. I assumed that it was still anonymous, but in the meeting, he was asking who in my group said this thing, and I said it was me. It's me. All your other guys. I'm not of traditional path to get here. I mean, I didn't just go to college and then boom, I'm a software developer. I came the side doors, I like to call it. And I explained to my boss that he had no idea because obviously when you do your resume, you do your thing, you're applying for a job, you apply for that job. You're not adding any extra who you are. Most of the other people in my team had done this one thing, and they walked in it and they were being 100% utilized. Yeah, okay. No, I'm not. I'm sergeant of the Air Force. I've supervised people. You got me supervising nobody. I'm I'm working on this other. I've had all these extra side jobs. I'm a photographer. I do video editing because I had the YouTube channel. I didn't do that before. If you start breaking down what percentage of what I actually do for you with this company at that time, which was mostly front end work, I was doing front end engineering. What it looks like for NBC News, MSNBC, Today Show, right? I was doing 10% of what I'm capable of doing, and they were shocked. And he didn't even know I was in ex-military. I never talked about it, but it was so like, oh, I didn't realize. And so he connected me with another guy, a senior VP there, and they put me in charge of the veterans group, which was 480 people on my mailing list in New York City. So Comcast veterans, Comcast NBC, Universal Veterans Network. From there, I worked with the Ben group. I worked with the Asian group. I worked with all the affinity groups that were available, because as part of being a veteran, you connected with all of different what I would consider racial breakdowns, because everybody has are in the military, and also we have the military specifically along with military spouses. So what I'd like to see change is not the direction that it's been changing. If you watch the news currently, they're reducing DEI, right? Which is scary to me, because it seems a man of particular age that I am, I've seen it grow to a point of which it wasn't fully there. It maybe I would say 20% implemented as it should be. Right? Basically, DEI is to focus and improve the balance, the equity of the community, to at least meet their racial goals as it is in the population. And we weren't there yet. And with new emphasis around that, people are all up in arms. They don't want to teach people about history. They want you to forget your history. It's always about forgetting your history, which means we're running into a problem of repeating it, which is not good. And to me, we should be working on making it more equitable for everyone. and engaging them. I did not see an opportunity for anyone to not belong to a diversity group, a DEI group. Everybody can belong, and you're either involved in that specifically, it's specifically pointed to you, or you can be an advocate for it. I'm willing to support the women's group. I have 6 sisters. I want to see them be successful. You know, I have family members that are married to Latinos or Asian people of some type. You don't want to miss out on what could bring you together. And to me, that all starts with a food. Bringing them together, and helping others to see who you are as a person and why you're that way. It's easier to get them starting out with a cupcake, and
Absolutely.
help them to grow to see how successful you could be by, maybe appointing someone that they never thought could be, run something. We used to run. We had a budget. I had a credit card there. I forget what the budget was specifically, but I ran many events. We used to do job fair and a whole other things that brought like 56 other businesses in. And we had somewhere around close to 1,000 people that would visit for job fair. If you figure out what the coordination is with that in your partner group, so we would partner up. The veterans group would partner up with WWE wrestling. I don't know how those two tied together, but they wanted to partner, and we said yes. They'd bring in their talent, and we'd have these partnered businesses come in, and we'd support. There was a goal back when I was in charge of getting 21,000 veterans into Comcast by 2021. Was the thing, and we would work at trying to whittle out how we can bring people in, and the process that was. Didn't all have to be in New York. Obviously, Comcast is a global company, but that's what they were looking for as a goal back then. And when we got to 2021, they got pretty close as far as I'm to understand to meeting that goal.
Wow, that's a very great perspective. So, being a social media influencer can come with its challenges. How do you stay authentic and true to yourself while navigating that space?
So, social media is a fun area to be in. You do what you want, and in my case, I only show what I eat. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to, do something that I don't eat. I'm always trying something new or come up with an idea. So, like just a couple weeks ago, which I haven't even edited yet, I made a almond and cherry croissant cake. It was delicious. Yes. Basically, it's basically think bread pudding and then think cherries and almonds in there. Is basically what it was. Bread pudding it's basically a custard with some type of bread product, either actual bread or, in this case, croissants. And you mix that together and make sort of like think French toast. So you need a custard, which is eggs and milk. In my case, it's eggs and heavy cream, some type of flavoring, either vanilla or almond extract, which is what I used. And then I used the cherries and the cherry juice, and then sprinkled in some almonds with some almond crushed almonds it's like an almond nut stuff that I picked up at Costco. It's crushed almonds, and you smatter that around and bake it together. Comes out as a loaf, and you slice it off. Obviously, you serve that with some beautiful, beautiful vanilla ice cream, and then you call it a day because you're going to sleep after you have that.
Absolutely. So, with your background in both tech and advocacy, do you see any unique ways the two can interact or support each other?
My background in technology and advocacy.
Yes.
Yes, because there uh, food and technology. We have people of color in these areas. They're not as much. They're not highlighted as often. very difficult to tell somebody that you can walk this path without them seeing an example, right? I like to point. I belong to this veterans group that is on LinkedIn. It's called the Veterans Club, and it meets on Saturday also in the morning at like noon, where they highlight about what veterans are doing and how they're helping the community. Like they're dealing with. There's one guy who created this crayons ready to eat. There's a Marine Corps saying where they lore, I should say, that they love eating crayons, which is, and I forget the way how he put it exactly, but Marines are that brains are not required. They say is what they say for Marine Corps. I
Oh.
personally would never want to have this negative connotation added to my service in the military, because you would never say that in the Air Force. Doesn't want to be stupid in any way. Right, we're highly technical, right, which is one of the reasons why I joined the Air Force, as compared to the only other branch that they say is highly technical would be the Navy, would be the other one. I assume now, because when I was in, they didn't have this. The Space Force, I assume, is extremely highly technical. I say that because it was part of the Space Corps, was part of the Air Force originally, but now that there's this new thing, which I don't think they really need to have both. I'll just leave it at that. It's either Air Force or the Space Force. You don't need both.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense because they don't go to space. So why do they need? They're always on the ground. But anyway, it's the advocacy for these things are to highlight who I am as a person. I'm trying to support the nerds that are out there who are trying to make a life for their family and friends, and also the support them to grow into something new. It's really difficult to shine if you don't know that there's a pathway to success. And if I can show that someone else has done it, that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what do you think is the most important skill or mindset for someone trying to make an impact in both their career and in their community?
Well, I think remembering to put one foot in front of another is the most important thing that you can, step by step. It's a journey. It's a marathon, and a lot of people would say, you just gotta start walking, and you gotta just keep walking. And even if you stumble, you just gotta keep walking, get back up, and move forward. I saw one interview with Denzel Washington where he said, something like, yeah, I'm blanking on this one. It's something like walking. Oh, you keep walking, and if you stumble, get back up. If you are walking again and you stumble again, you got to get back up. Even if you fall down 8 times, you got to get back up 9. That's the journey of life. Is being successful is by getting back up after you fall, remembering that the journey's not over. You just got to keep trudging forward. And that's his words were much more eloquent than mine. But just remembering to get back up when you fall down.
Wow, that totally resonates with me. You have to keep moving, being consistency, and never giving up. That is the key. So, before we wrap up, Jerome, is there anything you're currently working on or any upcoming projects you're excited about that you would like to share with our audience?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time. This process has been really cathartic for me because we're in a new year and it's 2025. I'm ready to move forward. So what I'm working on currently, like I've already mentioned, I'm working on developing a community for BFAM cooking. Right, that's BFAM cooking, BFAM, brother from another mother, cooking.com. And that is supposed to be focused on my recipes, and various resources for people of color and people in the military. That means anyone. You could be an advocate also and join my little community where I interview foodies, food creators, and influencers around food. Right, highly important that we support these people out there because it's very difficult to do that. It's very difficult to do it even if you weren't a person of color, but
Mm-hmm.
it's significantly more difficult because you are a person of color. We get less funding for our things, and we want to support them. Um, I anticipate launching that in the next few months or so. It's currently up, but it's not working. So it's work. It needs to be finished. It's not done, but it's at https://bfamcooking.com.
That is so awesome. I will surely personally look out for it and subscribe and whenever it's up. So, Jerome, for anyone who would like to connect with you or learn about your work, what's the best way for our listeners to reach out or follow you?
Great, and thank you again. The best way to connect with me, you can go on my personal site, my freelancing site, which is https://amosdesigns.net. Right, that's designs, DESIGNS.net. Or you can check me out or connect with me via email using bfamcooking.com/contact. That's my contact form. They'll send me an email. Or you can check me out or comment underneath my videos. Like, subscribe, share, please, at youtube.com/c/bfamcooking. That's my channel. And I'm also out there in pretty much every social media you can think of.
Thank you so much, Jerome. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today and hearing your valuable insights.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Be sure to join us for the next episode. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an update. Take care, everyone, and God bless.